happy Monday, happy full moon. Thanks for joining me for my first free online yoga class, first of many, hopefully. So the style for this class is going to be more of a slow yoga class with a little bit of sun salutations mixed in, which tend to be a little bit more vinyasa based, but we're going to do them slower, just something good to help warm up the body. My plan is to do a different style each month to expose you to different types of yoga, or different styles rather, so you can kind of see which style you prefer or which style you might totally hate, which is okay. But yeah, so hopefully you like what I'm doing, picking up on what I'm putting down, and you can join me each month for a free online class. So yeah. And I also posted a playlist that you could play along with the video. So if you are playing that playlist, you can go ahead and press play. In 1 second, when I tell you, I have to say one more thing. If you don't have Spotify, you could just play any sort of relaxing music that you want to play. Or if you don't want to play any music at all, you don't have to, but I recommend putting on something. Hopefully you can have the video on the laptop, playlist on the phone, or vice versa, whatever works for you. But yeah, so if you are playing the playlist, you may now press play, not having the volume up too loud. Obviously you still want to be able to hear what I'm saying. So yeah, pressing play on that playlist now. We're going to start in a seated position. If you're uncomfortable sitting on the ground, you could grab a blanket, placing it underneath the bum, or just sitting flat on the ground or your mat. Making sure the shoulders are melted down the back, chin tucked towards the chest, spine is nice and lengthened so the breath can move freely, and just taking a few moments here with the eyes closed, starting to settle into your body, settling into the breath, beginning to notice, without any judgment, without changing anything at all, just noticing how you're breathing today. Following the inhales and the exhales. Feeling the rise and fall of the stomach and chest. With each exhale, tuning in deeper to the body. Being conscious of your body on the ground. Being conscious of how you feel in this moment. Doing a little head to toe scan. If you find any places that are holding tension, just sending your breath here, beginning to soften. Whenever the mind begins to wander, just bringing your awareness back to the breath, back to the body. Acknowledging those thoughts and then gently letting them pass. Trying to work on that throughout your practice today, rather than letting your thoughts or your mind control you, controlling your thoughts. Staying present in the body, in the breath. Feeling anything that might be weighing heavy on you, just beginning to release. And then just taking here a few moments with yourself. On your next inhale, beginning to deepen the breath, really puffing out the stomach, and then on the exhale, allowing it to retract back towards the spine, tucking that navel in. the stomach puff out, chest rise. On the exhale, fully releasing your breath, drawing the navel in. Keeping this deep breathing going, keeping the eyes closed as you gently reach the arms out to the side, reaching the arms up overhead, keeping the shoulders melted down the back as you tap the fingers at the top, looking up with your head, and then bringing the hands through to heart center. Doing this again, extending the arms out towards the side, reaching the arms up overhead. Doing this slowly, feeling the energy in your hands, feeling the energy around you as you tap the fingers at the top, bringing them through to heart center. Doing this one more time, very slowly. Like I said, really feeling the energy in the hands, energizing the space around you. And as you tap the fingers at the top, bringing them through to heart center. You can keep the eyes closed here, or if you like, you can gently flutter the eyes open, extending your right arm out towards the side. As you reach the opposite arm up overhead, coming into a side bend. Same thing, keeping those shoulders melted down the back. Reaching out with that top arm. The more you reach, the more you'll feel it in that side body, maybe even in the hip. If you want to go deeper, you can bring that forearm all the way down to the mat. On your next breath, inhaling back up to center, tapping the fingers at the top, and then you can release the opposite arm down to the side, reaching that top arm up overhead, opening into that chest as you reach. Breathing here, trying to stay connected with that breath. Again, if you want to go deeper, placing that forearm onto the mat. On your next breath, inhaling back up to center, tapping the fingers at the top, bringing them all the way through. And then just gently resting the hands onto the knees. We're going to come into some spinal rotations. So really having your breath lead you here. On the exhale, extending forward, extending that spine out long. On the inhale, coming back up. Exhaling as you release down, feeling length in the spine, lifting out of the hips. Inhaling back up to center, doing this 2 more times on this side. Exhaling forward. Inhaling back up. 1 more time. And then just switching the cross of the legs. And you don't have to have your legs stacked on top of each other like I have mine. It's just more comfortable for me. Again, hands placed gently on the knees, and then we're just going to go in the opposite direction with those rotations. Same thing, inhaling on the way up, exhaling on the way down. Next time you find yourself forward, just kind of hanging out in a forward fold for a moment here. Lengthening into that that spine with each breath, keeping your sit bones planted though. On your next inhale, gently walking yourself up. And then I'm going to turn myself to the side here so you can see what I'm doing a little bit better. What we're going to do is we're going to come into some cat-cow tilts, but seated cat-cow tilts, and then a little bit of a different variation with the arms. So on the inhale, you're going to reach the arms up, sending that chest forward, releasing your head back. So this would be your cow spine. And then on the exhale, you're going to come into a bear hug, wrapping your arms around you, feeling those shoulder blades pull apart from each other, and then tucking your chin as you round your spine back. This is on your exhale. So this is your cat pose. So inhaling up, reaching those arms up overhead. Exhaling, coming into that bear hug, curling yourself into a tight ball. Doing this 2 more times. Inhaling up, exhaling back, inhaling out, exhaling into your bear hug, cat spine, and just holding here. Really wrapping those arms tight around the body, really tucking yourself in, drawing that navel back towards the spine, rounding the back. On your next inhale, opening back out to that cow spine, melting those shoulders down the back, really reaching those arms up. And then releasing all the way forward, coming into your tabletop. So once you're in your tabletop, what you want to make sure is you want your wrists in alignment with your shoulders. Fingers are spread wide, and then knees and hips are in alignment with each other. From here, just tucking your back toes back behind you, rocking forward and back. Getting a little stretch here. Coming into the opposite side, tucking those left toes back behind you. Rocking here. Releasing down. Really grounding down through that left hand, again making sure those fingers are spread wide. As you extend your left leg back behind you, right arm comes out in front, coming into an opposition balance. Making sure you're not arching into your back at all. Really flexing that back foot, spreading those front fingers. One line of energy from the front of your hand to the back of your foot. Keeping that back leg lifted as you release your hand down, bending into the knee, making circles in one direction. Opposite direction. Releasing down, and then coming into the other side. So grounding down into that right hand, extending your right leg back, left arm comes out in front of you. Really flexing into that foot, flexing into your front hand. And it's okay if you feel a little wobbly here. This is obviously a bit of a balance. So if you've never done it before, it might be weird, which is totally okay. Just breathing here and doing your best. On your next breath, releasing that left hand down, bending into your knee, making circles in one direction. And the other. Releasing that knee down to the mat. On your next breath, tucking your toes back behind you as you lift your hips up and back, coming into your downward facing dog. So walking the feet out so they're hips width distance apart. Tailbone is lifted, shoulders are melted down the mat. Not down the mat. Shoulders are melted down your back. Hands are on the mat, fingers spread wide. Just holding here, maybe pedaling out the feet. Rocking the hips side to side. And then just holding here, deep breath in through the nose, gently releasing out the mouth. As you bend into those knees, looking up at the top of your mat or the ground, stepping straight up into your forward fold. Once you're here, allowing a generous bend in the knees. We never want to lock out. And then just grabbing hold of both elbows as you shift your body weight side to side, coming into ragdoll. Allowing a nice release. And then releasing the hands down towards the mat. Taking a breath here. On your next inhale, coming up just halfway to your halfway lift. So placing the hands either on the shins or the thighs, maybe keeping your fingertips on the mat, whatever feels best, just making sure that you're melting those shoulders down the back, lengthening into the spine. What you're trying to do is make the number 7 with your body. So keeping your head in alignment with the back. Same thing, not locking out those knees at all. Breathing here. On your next breath, releasing back down, forward fold. On your inhale, rising all the way up to your mountain pose, sweeping those arms up overhead, tapping the fingers at the top. As you bring them through to heart center. One more time, sweeping those arms up overhead, tapping the fingers at the top. Bringing them through to heart center as you hinge forward at the waist, releasing down, forward fold. Inhaling up just halfway, halfway lift. On your next breath, placing both hands on the mat, fingers are spread wide as you step straight back to your plank. Making sure you're not dumping all your weight through your hands here. So really active in the shoulders, melting those shoulder blades away from each other. Hips are lifted. We're breathing here. Feeling the strength of your entire body. On your next breath, lowering yourself down to the mat. Placing those hands underneath the shoulders. Pressing up just a little bit to a mini cobra. Slight compression in the low back. As you release back down, tucking those toes. Pressing yourself straight up to your plank. And then downward facing dog. Deep breath in through the nose, gently releasing out the mouth. As you bend into your knees, looking up, this time stepping straight up to your halfway lift. Releasing down, forward fold, tucking that chin in towards the chest. On your inhale, rising all the way up to your mountain pose, tapping the fingers at the top. And then we're going to come to a twist. So keeping your hips squared to the front, all we're going to do is twist with the chest. So opening those arms out to a T as you twist over towards the left side. Inhaling back up to center. Twisting over to the right. Inhaling up. One more time, over to the left, opening into that chest. Inhaling up. Over to the right. Inhaling back up to center. Hands through as you hinge forward at the waist. Forward fold. Inhaling up just halfway. Halfway lift. On your next breath, placing those hands on the mat, stepping straight back to your plank. Holding here. On your exhale, tucking those elbows in as you lower all the way down, releasing the tops of the feet, pressing the hands into the mat, pressing up maybe a little bit more. As you release all the way down, tucking those toes, pressing up to your plank, and then downward facing dog. One more time here. So bending into those knees, looking up at your hands, stepping straight up, halfway lift. Releasing down to your forward fold. On your inhale, rising up, mountain pose, sweeping those arms up overhead. Twisting once over to the left. Inhaling to center. Twisting once over to the right. Inhaling back up to center here. Bringing the hands through as you release all the way down, forward fold. Inhaling up just halfway, halfway lift. Placing those hands on the mat, stepping straight back to your plank. Breathing here. On your next breath, tucking those elbows in as you lower down to your mat. Hands underneath the shoulders, pressing all the way up to your cobra pose. If this doesn't feel good, you can just take your low cobra that we've been doing. And releasing down, tucking those toes back behind you. Plank to downward facing dog. Deep breath here in through the nose, gently releasing out the mouth. As you bend into those knees, looking up at your hands, stepping straight up to your forward fold. Rising up, mountain pose, sweeping those arms up overhead, bringing them through to heart center. And then from here, so this isn't a yoga posture, but this is something that I've been doing a lot and that I really like. It's super good to relieve stress and just reset the nervous system. So before going on, I figured it'd be good to do. So all we're gonna do is just shake it out. So bouncing from one side to the other, letting the arms hang, maybe moving the head a little bit, just shaking it out. Feeling any stress just fall off the body, resetting that nervous system, getting a little bit more crazy with it. If you got a lot of crazy stress you need to shake off, maybe if you're liking the sound, you can dance with it a little bit. Slowing it down. And then just standing here in your mountain pose, palms facing forward, shoulders melted down the back. Noticing how your body feels. On your next breath, we're going to come into a knee raise balance. So really grounding down through that right foot. If you have something on the wall in front of you to focus on, this really helps you with your balance. It's called your drishti, or focal point. So just trying to focus on something that's not moving, whatever it is, to help you keep your balance. Before your knee raise balance, like I said, really grounding down through that right leg, you're gonna peel that left foot up off the mat. Maybe bringing those arms out in front of you to help you keep your balance. On your next breath, keeping that leg lifted, we're gonna send it back, tucking our toes, 90-degree angle in the front knee, coming into our crescent lunge. If you're feeling any compression in the low back, you can bend into that back knee a little bit more. Whenever you're feeling steady, sweeping those arms up overhead. On your next breath, bringing those arms down to your side as you shift your body weight forward. And super strong in those arms, not like they're just dangling and hanging out here. Your whole body is active. If Warrior 3 is part of your practice, or if you just want to challenge yourself a little bit more, you can bring those hands to heart center, kicking off that back leg as you balance onto your front foot. Maybe focusing on something on the ground to help you keep your balance. One more breath here, tucking those back toes back behind you, sweeping those arms up overhead, crescent lunge. On your next breath, we're going to open those arms out to a T, shifting your hips to the side as you drop that back heel down. So you want the back edge of your foot, or the knife edge of your foot, parallel with the back edge of your mat. Front toes are pointing to the front. And another alignment cue here is we want our back arch as well as our front heel in alignment with each other. So really bending into that front knee, hips are squared, opening those arms out to a T as you look out over those fingertips. On your inhale, straightening that front leg, now rocking it out, releasing down, inhaling up, releasing down, 2 more times. As you melt down into your warrior 2. On your next breath, shifting your body weight forward, taking your right forearm, bringing it to the thigh as you reach that left arm up overhead. Keeping the integrity of your legs, making sure you didn't straighten into that front knee at all. Breathing here, maybe looking up at those fingertips. On your next inhale, rising back up to your warrior 2, holding here for 1 breath. And then pointing both toes in the same direction, reaching your arms up overhead, sending your chest forward, head back, pressing your hips forward at the same time though, coming into your star pose. So we have a little back bend here. On your next breath, coming back up, releasing all the way down into a wide-legged forward fold. Making sure we're not locking out those knees. And then what I'm going to have you guys do is kind of sway side to side in this wide-legged forward fold. So you can grab hold of both elbows, like when we were in our ragdoll, and then swaying side to side, but bending into one knee and then the other, kind of like lunging to one side. Kind of looks like you're drawing a figure 8 on the ground, and just kind of flowing through this. On your next breath, releasing those hands down, grabbing hold of the hips as you rise back up, sweeping those arms up overhead. We'll open them out to a T, coming to our warrior 2. So making sure that back foot is parallel, pointing your toes towards the, front of the mat or back, I don't know, whichever one. This is the back of my mat, so I'm pointing my toes to the back of the mat. Bending into your knee here as you open those arms out to a T. Same thing, front heel and back arch are in alignment with each other. Making sure you're not arching into the back at all. Inhale, straightening. Exhaling as you release down. Inhaling up. Exhaling down, 2 more times. Sinking into the posture. On your next breath, shifting that body weight forward. Forearm comes down, top arm sweeps up overhead. Really grounding down through that back foot as well, not just the front. On your next inhale, we'll rise back up to our warrior 2, holding the posture. And then we're going to do a little swivel here. So swiveling on the bottom out of that back foot, tucking those toes as you sweep your arms up overhead, crescent lunge. How's that breath? And then releasing those arms arms down towards your side. Super strong though, so like feeling like you're shooting those arms down, spreading those fingers as you shift your body weight forward. Again, coming into your warrior three if you like, kicking up off that back leg. And then whether you're in your crescent lunge or your warrior three, ooh, feeling a little jiggly here. We're gonna rise up to our knee raise balance on the opposite side. So right leg is lifted. And then opening out to the side, coming to our star pose again. Really opening into that heart center. And bringing those hands through, coming down to a squat. Pointing those toes out to the side. Neutral tilt to the pelvis, we're not arching our back here. And you can just sway side to side, maybe getting a little bouncy with it. Not sure what song is playing right now, but it's probably a good one, so bouncing with it. And then just holding here. Seeing if you can sink a little lower. On your next breath, rising back up, star pose, reaching those arms up overhead. And then bringing the hands to the hips. We'll step our back foot up to meet the front, mountain pose, sweeping those arms up overhead. Releasing down, forward fold. Keeping your hands planted towards the front of the mat, keeping your right foot planted as well. We're gonna step our left foot back, coming into a low lunge. From here, dropping that back knee down. If you're like, I'm getting a deep enough stretch here, I don't want any more, you can stay here. If you want a little bit more, you can rise up, placing those hands on your thigh. Maybe reaching those arms up overhead. And then planting those hands, we're going to come into a hamstring stretch. So sending those hips back as you straighten into your front leg. Once you're here, tenting those fingers on the mat, we're going to lift up, lengthening into the spine, keeping that length as you release back down to your stretch. This should get you a little bit deeper. Sending your breath into those tight places. As you walk those hands back up, sending those hips forward again in that lunge. And then tucking those back toes back behind you, bringing your left foot up to meet the right, forward fold. Hanging out here for a second, tucking your chin in towards your chest. And then whenever you're ready, coming into the other side, so taking that right foot, stepping it back behind you, tucking those toes, making sure you're not resting your upper body on that top leg either. Whenever you're ready, releasing that back knee down. If it feels good, you can hang out here. If you want more, rising up. If you're feeling crazy, you can sweep those arms up overhead. Placing both hands, coming into that hamstring stretch, hips come back, front, left leg straightens. We'll tent those fingers, lifting up, lengthening that spine, and then releasing down, keeping that length, keeping that stretch in the leg. Next breath, all we're going to do is take our front foot, bring it back to meet the back foot. Big toes come together, knees out super wide as you sink your hips back, walking your arms out in front of you, coming into a child's pose. So resting your forehead down towards the ground or the mat. Breathe in here. Maybe if you want, you can kind of sway side to side into the posture. Getting a little bit more fluidity going in the body. And then walking your hands over to the right side, getting a stretch in that left side body. Extending your left arm out a little bit farther than the right. Breathing here, inhaling to create space, exhaling to soften. On your next breath, coming back to center, taking a moment here, and then making your way over to the opposite side. This time the right arm is going to extend out longer. Inhale, coming up to your tabletop, and then shifting your weight over to one hip, swinging those legs out in front of you. Let me see how we're doing on time real quick. All right, cool. So, can you see my wall? Yeah, you can see my wall. We'll see how this goes. Yeah, we're good. So we're gonna come into legs up the wall. So finding a wall space that doesn't really have anything on there, if you don't have one in sight right now, maybe pausing this and kind of not too quickly because we're trying to wind down a little bit, but tiptoeing over somewhere to find a wall space. But to come into your legs up the wall, the easiest way is to bring one hip right up against the wall, and then you're going to walk your hands back behind you as you swing your legs up the wall. Trying to get as close as you can to the wall, so you're going to have to shimmy shake a little bit. And then once you're here, I'm going to come down so you can hear me better. It probably sounds weird. Once you're here in your legs up the wall, just taking a few moments to settle into the posture. This is probably one of my favorite poses. Super great for the nervous system. Kind of helping us get into more of that rest and repose, parasympathetic state. As well as it's a supported inversion, so we get the benefits of inversions without standing on our heads. So that's kind of cool for most people. Taking a few moments to bring your awareness back to your breath. Again, noticing how you're breathing. Noticing how the body feels. If there's any distractions, whether it be external or internal, just bringing your awareness back to the breath, back to the body. Working on controlling our thoughts rather than letting them control us. And then if you want to go deeper here, you can take your right ankle, crossing it over the left thigh, focusing on drawing that right knee away from the body. So it should look like so. And then if you want to go even deeper, you can start to bend into that leg that's up the wall, so it should be your left leg, trying to place that foot onto the wall. And the more you bend into that knee, obviously the closer your bent leg is going to come towards your body, and the deeper you're going to get into this hip opener. Taking one more breath here. If that left knee is bent, straightening into the leg, bringing your right leg up to meet the left. Taking a moment here to notice how the right side of the body feels. And then whenever you're ready, coming into the opposite side, so crossing that left ankle over the right thigh. Again, if you went deeper on the opposite side, going deeper here, bending into that right knee. Inhaling to create space, exhaling to release. On your next breath, straightening into that right leg, bringing the left leg up to meet the right. And then from here, we're just going to come into our Shavasana. If you're comfortable with your legs up the wall, you can stay here. If it's too much, you can just roll down to one side and then come onto the ground, laying flat with your legs out in front of you, palms face up. So getting into whatever comfortable position you like, coming into your Shavasana or final resting posture. And just releasing and letting go here. Making sure you're not clenching the jaw, releasing the tongue from the roof of the mouth, and just dropping down into your body. Releasing the shoulders down towards the ground. Releasing any tension in the arms or the hands. Tucking the chin in towards the chest as you relax the facial features. Feeling your upper body and back melt into the mat. Feeling a release in the hips and the legs. On your inhale, feeling your entire body at once. And then as you exhale, feeling a release. deepen the breath, deepening the inhales and the exhales. Starting to wiggle the fingers and toes, rolling out the wrists and ankles, maybe gently moving the head side to side. Whenever you're ready, you can draw the knees up towards the chest, rolling down to one side, using the arm as a pillow for the head. And then using that top arm to gently press yourself up to a seat, coming into a mini seated meditation. So ending exactly as we started, sitting on your mat. This time we'll have the palms up, shoulders melted down the back, keeping a length in the spine, tucking your chin in towards the chest as you gently close the eyes. Whenever the mind begins to wander, just gently bringing your awareness back to the breath, back to your body, acknowledging the thought and then just letting it pass, rather than getting stuck in the thoughts or the stories that our thoughts create in the mind. The only thing we're focusing on is what's happening right now within ourselves. On your next breath, gently bringing the hands through to heart center, tucking the chin to the chest, connecting mind and heart. Taking a deep breath here in through the nose, holding it at the top, and then sighing it out the mouth. Thank you all for practicing with me. Namaste.